Hey guys, welcome back. Hope you're doing well. And if you're new here, I'm Jim. Thanks for stopping by. Today, I'm in Luminar Neo, and I'm playing with a photo that I took recently in Oregon, and I was on the coast, and you know what? It was stormy, and it rained on me, and the wind was kind of howling, and I was out there anyway because, hey, it's photography, and I'm in Oregon, like my favorite place, and you know what? It's just worth it. But I went to edit this photo and I thought, I'm going to do my thing. And I kind of go about my normal thing, which if you've been here before, I'll play around with some stuff and then I'll get into structure and I'll go negative and I'll just kind of smooth out some things. And I thought, the hell with that. I am not going to smooth things out. I'm going to make the photo look like I was standing in a bit of a storm because honestly, I was. So that's what this edit is. My dog's going crazy back there. Anyway, I'm going to go and I'm going to make this photo look the way it felt to be on that beach in Oregon a few weeks ago. So I'm going to start in Develop Raw. It is a RAW file, and I'm going to start with a camera profile. And the one that I ended up using was camera landscape. If you notice that before and after, it really kind of nicely popped the photo a little bit. So I was pretty happy with that. So I went ahead and went with it. I'm going to start with some smart contrast. Yeah, so about a 19 there, and I'm going to pull up the shadows about a 14 or so, and I'm also going to play with the curves tool. So let me get down in here, and in curves, what I'm going to do, I got to look at my notes. I didn't really, you can't really make notes about curves because like you're dropping dots on this line and moving things. By the way, if you don't know curves, check out that video where I talk about all about curves. And if you'd like to see more about curves, leave me a comment down below. I'm going to go ahead and put a little bit of an S-curve on this thing, which, it kind of brightens some of the brighter parts. I'm going to pull down some of the darker parts a little bit. I'm just kind of giving it a little bit of oomph, a little bit of contrast. And I'm not sure this is exactly what I was doing in my practice. But hey, we're all friends here. I think this is going to work out anyway. And let me just see if I can get this photo looking the way I want it to look. So there's my photo. I think that's going to be fine for now. Let me show you the before. That's what I started with. And current state, or after, if you will. Camera profile, some adjustments in light, and an adjustment in curves. So far, so good. I'm pretty happy with what I have. But what I want to do is really kind of crank up that mood. And despite the way that sounds, I'm not going to go to the mood tool. I'm actually going to go to structure AI. So structure AI, you often in scenes like this see me dragging this to the left and smoothing out those details because I love smooth, kind of painterly kind of photos. You may know that if you've been here before, but I am not, I repeat, not going to do that in this video because I'm kind of bored with myself, to be honest. So let's just get over here. And I went to high 60s. And that just really cranks up the mood, but I don't want to do that same amount everywhere. This is where masking comes in particular AI mask, which does this little graphic here while it figures out the different elements in the photo. And in a second, it's going to say, hey, click here if you want to mask this into the sky. And I'm going to say, yes, I do. So there it is. And I'm going to go ahead and click mask, or excuse me, sky. And you can see honestly, it picked out the sky quite well. I mean, let's be honest, that's just about perfect. It's certainly better than I could do on my own. I love AI mask. I think it's fabulous and fantastic. So there we go. And if you take a look at the mask, which you can do down here in the mask actions, I'll click show. There's your mask. So in other words, this adjustment of a 68 in structure AI is going into the sky. And I love it because I'm trying to bring up that mood of the storm, but we're not done. We're going to do this again. So I'm going to commit that tool. I'm going to open it again because you can do that. And this time I'm going to do about a 30 or a 31, something like that. And I'm going to use a linear gradient. So I'm going to pull that in here and I'm going to do something about like that. I just want to get it kind of on the beach because I like the way basically the beach looks with a little bit of that kind of structure AI added. So I'm just kind of getting this in the right place. And if you haven't seen my masking video, check that out where I talk about the different masking types. But you can see what that's done there. So if you go back to adjustments, I've got a 31 masked into that bottom. So if I do the before and after, if you look at the bottom section of the photo that was previously covered in red, there it is before and there it is now. You can see it adds a little bit of mood, which I like, but I'm not done. I'm going to get structure AI again. And this is the beauty and the power and frankly the fun of just stacking edit on edit on edit. And what I want to do is I'm looking at this sky and it was kind of intimidating, so to speak. And it was a storm. So it looked like a storm, but that upper section of the sky doesn't look as stormy. It doesn't have quite as much structure as the rest of the sky like down here. So this is where I can come in one more time with structure AI and I'm going to do like high 30s and let's call it 40, 39, whatever. And again, I'm going to use this linear gradient, and I'm going to come over here and just kind of blend that into part of the sky. I don't want to get all the sky, so I didn't use the sky AI. I just want to do something about like that and maybe tilt it slightly. I think this section over here looks good. I don't want to oversell the storm. I'm not trying to make this look like some, superhero movie kind of thing, but I do want it to look pretty cool. And so that adjustment of 39 is going into that upper part of the sky. So before and current state, I'm just adding a little bit more oomph. And now that I've got it masked, I can play with that. In fact, I actually think I might go a little bit higher. I don't want to go all the way to 100. I think that's overdone, but maybe I'll go 45, maybe even 50. So let me get that 50. There we go. And let me show you the before and after. There's the before and there's the after. It just adds that little extra bit of oomph, which I love, and it definitely brings up the mood in the photo, which is what I'm trying to do. It was a storm. I was getting rained on. I was getting blown about with the wind. As I said, I want you to kind of feel that in this edit. So now that I've done that, I'm going to go into actually denoise, and I'm going to go into the luminosity. I'm going to go mid 40s, maybe high 40s, something like that. Let me show you the before and after. Before, you can see it's a little bit noisy, and after, it's a little bit smoother. I don't use the denoise a ton, but I do like it, and it comes in handy. And the nice thing about it is I'm not really losing a lot of what I added with the structure. I'm just removing a little bit of that graininess from the sky. But I think overall, I think my mood is looking quite good. If I look at my before, there it is before, and my current state, there it is. I mean, I think we've got a nice looking photo so far, but I'm not done. I am gonna go get in the landscape filter. I'm gonna get golden hour, and I'm gonna give that about a 50, simply because it does a nice job of kind of bringing up some of the colors. Do you notice, by the way, some of the color that's coming up over here? If you look at the before, obviously there's a little bit of yellow there in some of the sky, but the after, it's getting a little bit of purple almost, and I like that. I like how it's bringing up some of the color in the sky. But I have one more thing I want to do with color in the sky, and that's in color harmony. And I'm going to do something very simple down here, and this is in color balance. I'm going to go into the highlights, and I'm just going to do about a 5 on the reds here, 5 toward the red in the highlights, and about a -5 toward the magenta in the highlights. All I'm doing is just giving it a little bit of color, just a little bit. This photo is not about the color. This is about the storm and kind of the twirling, kind of swirling cloud formations that are happening here. But I want to give it a little bit of color. I like my color, old habits die hard, all that kind of stuff. But there it is before, and there it is now. Just a tiny hit of color. And that's it, my friends. That's my edit. I wanted to take this photo, which was rather stormy. If you look at the beginning, the base photo, I mean, it's a stormy photo, but it's not really showing it. I'm not really feeling it. It's kind of blah, but some work in raw develop with the camera profile and then some of the curved stuff and all that really, I think, brought it to life. 3 hits with structure AI to really just kind of pop some of that crunch. A little bit of denoise to remove a little bit of the noise, slight bit in golden hour, slight bit in color balance, down in color harmony, and I think I've got a nice looking photo. The before and after I think is fairly drastic, and yet I didn't overdo it. I didn't want to make this a, hey, look at this amazing sunset, because, it wasn't an amazing sunset. There was a little bit of color, but it was mostly about the clouds and the storm. So old habits die hard, as I said. I gave it a little bit of color. I can't help it. I got to do that, but I really wanted to pop some of the light and some of the crunch, and I think I did a good job there. That's how I went about this one. You know what? Sometimes it's fun to just throw old habits out the window, which is like negative structure for me, and I love it. I'm going to do it a million times in all my future videos because it's fantastic, in my opinion. I just like it, but sometimes it's good to just throw those things out, do something that you wouldn't normally do. In this case, I didn't just double down, I tripled down, 3 times structure AI to make it look the way I wanted it to look. That's how I wanted it to look. And frankly, that's kind of how it felt. I had some decent light, had a little bit of color, but I had a lot of crazy kind of clouds going on. I wanted to crank them up. That's what I did here today. Hope it gives you some ideas, my friends. Thanks for watching. I appreciate it. Hope you're doing well. You guys stay safe out there. Take care of yourselves. I'll be back soon with more videos. And until then, my friends, adios.